Mike, I watched as Phil Jackson was on the bench with the Lakers, and he walked off, and I kept thinking, I got a feeling this is his last game as a Lakers coach, and maybe his last game coaching in the NBA. And I've never given the guy enough credit out there. He's got 6 titles with the Bulls, but I was always like, you came in when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were in their prime, man. And then you go to the Lakers, and you got Shaq and Kobe, and then they put Gasol with Kobe. But you know what? The different personalities, and you saw when it didn't work this year at the end, and he just was like, I can't even do my Zen magic anymore. Ron Artest, there was Bynum. There's so many different personalities that
I thought a lot the way you did when he was with the Bulls. But if people go back to the Lakers and think, well, they had Shaq and Kobe. Well, Kobe wasn't there yet when he got there, and that team didn't play much defense when he got there either. He did change the whole culture around the Los Angeles Lakers, and people look back and think, well, the Lakers are always good. No, look back. They're not always good. They weren't always good, and he changed that a lot. His run with L.A. impressed me much more than his run with Chicago did, because I think a lot of people could have done it with Michael Jordan, quite frankly. I really can't think of an NBA coach that I would rank ahead of him. So much of coaching is circumstances. It's the hardest thing to do in what we do for a living is assess a coach, because there's no way to really know that the best coach who ever lived never got out of junior high. There's no way to know that. Compare Phil Jackson's career to Larry Brown's. So different. So the challenges that they faced, they were both NBA coaches for a long time. The challenges that they faced were so different. I don't even know how you could even compare them. So it's interesting. But I will say, 11 titles is 11 titles, and there's no NBA coach that I would put ahead of Phil Jackson.
You make that comment, and I think Red Auerbach right away, the great Boston Celtics coach with at least 10 titles, okay? Mm-hmm. But you know what? I may have to agree with you there. Red didn't have to deal with all the things that Jackson did, the personalities, the egos. I mean, granted, they had egos back then, but you didn't have one-and-done players or guys that didn't go to college at all, just went right from high school. Red had Bob Cousy, Holy Cross 4 years, Bill Russell at college. You didn't have the international players. There's so much extra things, salary cap.
On the other hand, though, Red Auerbach was choosing the players too. He was running the whole thing.
Sharp guy.
I mean, so that's almost a different animal. But it's also true, if we're going to go that direction, then we also have to say, I think, that the Celtics were so far ahead of any other NBA franchise at that point in terms of how smart they were, how well run they were, how committed they were to being good, and it's almost that doesn't even compare to now. But certainly Red Auerbach is on the short list. There's no doubt about that.
You have the pressure in LA too that I don't think when Phil Jackson was in Chicago, because Chicago wasn't that good at the time. The pressure in LA had a pretty high standards under Pat Riley and the Magic Johnson cream in the 80s, early 90s.
Sure.
People forget about Dale Harris and Kurt Rambis had coached that team. Magic took a stint coaching the team.
Yep.
And it didn't work, okay?
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Even Kobe was a punk at first, man. I couldn't stand him. He got them all to work together. And you mentioned changing the atmosphere, the culture. Yeah. Isn't that sort of what Pat Gillick did with the Phillies? They were still winning. Ed Wade brought a lot of those players in, but you bring in a winner and Pat Gillick, you bring in a winner with Phil Jackson, and the whole mindset changes.
Well, yeah,
it's not as much X's and O's as it is just
what he did with the Lakers impressed me a lot more than what he did with the Bulls, because and another thing about the Lakers is they weren't playing much defense. They weren't a really good, tough, playoff sound basketball team when he got there. People think, well, the Lakers, like you said, you're exactly right. People said the Lakers are always good. No, they're not. Look back at the history a little bit. Phil Jackson really impacted that group in a very positive way. And again, 11 titles, pretty awesome.
The thing is, sometimes when you have the talent, you've got to go out and win too, and this guy has done it.
No doubt.